Good morning, good morning. Hello, hello, hello. The mailman came to visit me yesterday at the front door. Usually we get our mail down the street. They had a huge box for me, and it came from really far. It came all the way from HanJan Crochet, really far. I put a note on the side of the box for myself. It says 12-day Advent. Start Friday, December 1st. Note to self. No peeking. Not even a little. Teresa and I decided to do a swap. A scrappy swap. Whatever we already have, we put together 12 unique colors of yarn, and we decided that we would trade. So it's a complete mystery in here. We'll open one a day, and we'll work on a project that we've each decided that we'd like to have. I'll share more of this information with you on December 1st. Fun, something to look forward to. But I know if that box is sitting here in my little craft corner, I'm going to be thinking about it. It's going to be on my mind. And I don't want to convince myself that I should look in that box before December 1st. So I've been keeping my hands busy so I don't get into too much trouble. I've finished a few objects I'd like to share with you. I've had them in my trick-or-treat canvas bag. And let's see. Let's share this one first. I made a scrappy chick. I didn't really follow a pattern. I saw a lot of chicken patterns out there. She's looking a little flat, huh? A little mopey. Well, I got a plan for that. So I started off with a circle. I held 2 strands together of just some scrappy variegated yarn that I had. This one was a pretty turquoise into orange into like a blue green. And then this other one I had, I think it was a Karen Simply Soft, a vintage that was just turquoise and purple. And I used that. Just working straight up, no increases, single crochets. When I got to about how big I thought I wanted her to be, that last one around, I added some loops, some increasing loops to this back end piece. And I got up here to the front and I did some increasing with half double crochets. I think I did doubles, but two rows around of those increasing just to give her a little bit of a face. I was digging through my safety eyes and I noticed that I use a lot of safety eyes. One of the Amazon kits that I bought had safety noses. I don't use them very often. There was a whole bunch of brown and black, pink and red safety noses. So I thought I'd use her 2 little chocolate safety noses and make them eyeballs. And I had some scrappy red left over from that poinsettia hat. So I gave her a little bit of a increasing beak. I think I did single half doubles and then a bunch of doubles at the end and a peacoat at the end. I think I did just a short one, just a chain 2, because I didn't want that gap in there. And then when I came back around, I put a whole bunch of loops up here at the top, just random chaining. And then I stitched her up in the back, but I did not stitch her all the way. I left this tail section open, and I did that so I could stuff her. I'm gonna stuff her as I go. I have lots of little scrap pieces of yarn to put in there. So she'll be nice and fluffy and full. She can sit on my cart and work with me. So I'll put all my clippings in there. There she is, my scrappy chick. Come on, peek up. So there she is. I did that, and she just sits up here on the top of my cart in my little yarn bowl nest. And then I made some bookmarks, some page marks. I have a cousin, a different cousin than the Granny Square purse cousin, who loves to plan. She loves her planners. She loves her scrapbooky planners. And I thought that I would make her some bookmarks. So I found a couple patterns on YouTube. I will link them below. And I haven't starched these yet, but I will. I made this one. It's just using a star stitch, and it's pretty short because not all her planners are the same size, so I want to make them unique. And I believe this is one of those little tiny donut cakes of Kobu. I think. Lion brand. I think that's what it is. It was just a tiny little scrap ball that I had, but I thought that the color really matched her style. And then she loves fall leaves. So I found this bookmark leaf pattern, super simple to follow, very delicate, and I haven't starched it. I haven't pinned all the little gaps out, unblocked it yet. I will. I'll get to it. Or not. Maybe it'll get flattened out in a book. I made this with some, that was Aunt Lydia's embroidery thread. And then it chains up, and then it's got a nice little heart end to it. And that was a fun pattern. That worked up nice and easy. And then I found one for dandelions. Well, I think they're meant to be dandelions. And they did a color change in there. I thought that was fun. So the first one I made up in fall colors because she really loves the fall colors. So I got that one. It's got a long braid on it and then a little heart at the end that hangs out of the book. And I thought, oh, it needs to be done in a thistle. So using the gold that I had and some variegated embroidery green, I made a thistle. Whoop. It's blowing in the wind. There we go. There's no wind in my room. I got a thistle. And at the end, when I was making the leaves, I chained a little extra and slipped this fat holed bead through it. It's a glass bead with a lot of green coloring in it. And I slipped that through, but I like how the colors played well together. That when the color changes, you know what? Gravity is my friend. Let me just turn that around. There we go. So I made that one. This one's probably my favorite. I like how the purple and the gold and the green all go together. So I made those, and then she saw a cute little idea of taking a decorative paper clip, and the top of it there was a little heart, a little bow, and a little pumpkin. So I was thinking of making 3 of those. The decorative paper clips, they were like a rose gold, and the decorative part was that they were really big. I don't know, maybe I'll look around and see what I can find for that. Or we have an Office Depot pretty close to the house. Might just swing by over there and see what I can find. Just some little gifty trinkets that I can put in an envelope and mail to her, or hold on to them, and the next time I see her, I can surprise her with I was thinking of you. Okay, what else have I been doing? Oh, so it's been about maybe almost 2 years ago now. I was gifted quite a bit of yarn. the woman I had met was gifted this yarn. So it's been a while, but they were part of the Annie's. They were part of the Annie's Knit Afghan Club. And so they received these balls of yarn and this pattern piece ever so often. And it gave a little pattern on how to make blocks for this Afghan. And she loved all the grays and her intention was to do it. They were knit. Yes, because it's a knit Afghan Block of the Month Club. The colors are gorgeous, and I didn't open them. They were nice and sealed and fresh. They still smell amazing. And so then there were, let's see, there were 3 different colors. So it's Premier, Anti-Peeling, Everyday Worsted. There's 203 yards. This stuff is so incredibly soft. I think if I would have opened one of them and felt how, this is a kitten. This is really nice stuff. I'm not a yarn snob. I'll work with anything. I think every yarn has an appropriate project that it works really well for. Man, this is some good stuff. I'm hooked. If I'm going to make a garment, man, my skin would love that. I don't even have to wear a t-shirt under something this soft. So this color is, let's see, Donahue. And it's a light gray, and there's some tonal gray to it. It's very pretty. And then there's this will be the darker, I'll call the darker one. This is Steel. And I did see these colors on the website for Premier, and I didn't look up Annie's, but if they have the Afghan, I'm sure they have these colors available for a buffer if you've, cut and chopped too much and you need to plump up your kit again. And then the white, please give it a pretty name. It's such a nice looking white. Snow White. It's not bleachy pure. It's, I hate to use the word, but creamy. Every time someone asks me to make a project for them and they want like an off-white or a beige or a khaki and they say creamy, I get lost. What does that mean? It means Snow White. That's a pretty white. I don't usually wear white very often because it doesn't really stay white with me. So those are the 3 that I had to work with. And I really wanted to make a garment out of them. So I've been getting some emails. I saw it on Instagram. It's a crochet along collab where they're featuring granny squares. I think all 3 ladies were featuring granny squares. And it's a make along, so you buy into and you buy a bundle package of all the patterns, and then you work with each designer through their patterns. I might be a little confused on that. I wasn't sure because I don't usually like all the patterns in a bundle, but there was one pattern that caught my eye. It was a granny square and more of a triangular shape, and it used half granny squares to smooth out the neckline into a circle. So it made a triangle on each shoulder, which was a wedge, and then it had an upside down triangle in the front and the back, which smoothed out. Very pretty. I will attach a picture of the project with due credits at the end of the video, so I'll do a little editing. And I'm going to definitely link the pattern. You can buy just that pattern. Gosh, I can't remember the designer's name. I'm so sorry. I want to say HanJan. I'll research it and I'll give you some correct information. So I got started on that one. Let's see, that's a a card meant to go in the mail to Tap Mama. Don't want to show that one yet. She's doing great. She's recovering. I didn't have quite enough of the yarn in that kit, so I went through my stash and I found this black. It's Plymouth Yarns, and I picked this up on the yarn crawl as just a black basic. I picked it up because it felt so good. It's a worsted 4-weight. It matches the loftiness, the texture, the squishy of the Premier. And there's that one. This is some nice stuff. This isn't Red Heart Super Saver. This is some nice stuff. Garment worthy, right? And it smells so good. And this is a nice pure black. Sometimes I get those blacks and there's little flecks of different color, like a heathered, a non-intentional heathered. So I wonder what they called this one, because it's just a generic color. I don't know. It was made in Pennsylvania. That's pretty cool. No, it was made in Turkey. The company, the Plymouth Yarn, is in Pennsylvania. The color is 217. You know, come on, people. This is little pink nose kitten is what this is. It's so soft. I have a dog, so sometimes there's just some little random bonus fur in these. Okay, so I got my little bag that I picked up from a thrift store. Got my little bag. And I know it's a yarn bag because look, it's got a little yarn hole in it. How cool is that? So I put all my stuff down in this bag. I'm using the recommended 4.5 hook. So it's like a little G+, which I don't have very many 4.5 hooks. I think I'm going to go on Etsy and see if I can go to the Polymer Clay Shed and see if I can find a cute little 4.5. This is actually a really good hook. These came from the $1.25 store. I'm a lefty, but it's got that nice little thumb groove right there. That might irritate some people, but the way I hold my hook, oh, I could go for hours if my family would just leave me alone. It's a nice solid hook. It's a hard plastic. It's not like the squishy ones, which would be nice, but for $1.25, I'm not picky. It's got a light aluminum shaft and head on it. It's more of the boys style. Maybe if I use the white wall. There we go. There's a bit of a tip on it. It's definitely not on the pointy side. Helps you grab and dig into those hooks. So, let's see. I've got all my yarns down in here. And you guys know that I don't like sewing in ends, but, you know, you gotta sacrifice for the grannies. So soft. And I've been trying to sew in my ends as I go. So we have, let me hold it like this. There we go. We have the front collar piece, which is the granny squares. And I did them all the same. I did the dark, the light gray, the white. And at that point, I hadn't chosen a black. I was trying to go online and find the Premier Everyday in a Black. Think they're on sale at Joann's. And I started to do the same day pickup. But then I realized the whole day was just jam-packed full of stuff yesterday. So I wouldn't be able to pick it up right away. And then I remembered I had that black yarn. So there's no black in the collar, but that's okay. I think it incorporates well when I start down the granny square. So it's a poncho. I got the neckline. The poncho will go down to about elbow, and then it cuts off for the sleeves. It's increasing just in the corner rows. It's a very forgiving pattern. There's lots of places to modify for the sizes. There's modification in the size of each square. You can add an extra round. It breaks down the sizes where you can add a single crochet all the way around or just another row of grannies. It is also including size when you do this first row of granny squares going all the way around. There's little tips and tricks where she has you add more clusters in there to make it bigger. I didn't do any of those. I don't know if I'll regret that or not. We shall see. But so when you get down to the elbows, it breaks off, and then you're going to make a sleeve. So it's a poncho with a sleeve, and it's not, the pattern is not a very large, oversized poncho for snuggling around the house. It really looks more like a fall winter sweater. The pattern uses 4-weight, but I bet if it was done in a fingering and then sized up to the largest size of the pattern, it would give a really nice fitted sweater look. And I think I want to do it again with fingering weight yarn and do that and make it more of the fitted sweater look. The more garments I make, the more I realize the value in making them custom for me and my body and how comfortable I am. After you split off for the sleeves, then you make the sleeve part. I don't know if you make the sleeve part. I think you split off and then you continue the poncho down, alternating your fun colors. Or if I use some of that fingering weight hand dyed stuff, I would just let it play out skein for skein however it wants to. That'd be really pretty. So you make it as long as you comfortably want to, short, long, whatever you like. And then you go back and you do the sleeves. The sleeves, I think, are worked in longer rows. It's not a granny square sleeve, as long as however you want, custom. I'll attach a picture. I don't know if my description's really doing it justice. It's very pretty in the picture. And I like that the neck is a little higher. You could leave this one off if you wanted a V-neck. But I think it added some character to it. It added a feature detail that's very flattering, I think. And if it's cold and I'm draping myself in yarn, I think I might even want a turtleneck with it. We'll see. So the hole does fit. And it's got a nice lay on it because it's got that wedge of a triangle up there. Maybe that triangle, that would definitely enlarge the piece. It would wedge it out further if you did just an extra row on those. Working along, trying to remind myself to sew in the ends as I go so that I'm not completely frustrated. I do work in my ends as I go. Before I always start in that center piece and then I pull the tail over and I make sure I grab it. Yes, lots of color change makes for slow work, but it's a nice mindless piece to just work on. We have a car trip coming up in a week. I'd like to have it done, but it would also be okay to work in it in the car. So if I can hurry up and get this one done in the next week, and I start another one for the trip, it would definitely be mindless because I've worked it before. I like that there was only 10 solid granny squares going around. Usually whenever I start a granny square project, I'm thinking, oh, I'm doing a whole king size blanket. It's a gift. It's due tomorrow. No, it was only 10 and then the 4 of the little half squares. So that worked up really fast. That didn't take me long at all. That's what I'm working on. Still have some whips hanging around. The little mushrooms are going home today. I still have the knitted hat sitting here, my pumpkin hat. Last time I fiddled with it was to show you guys. I think that's just about it, really. Today's Saturday. I picked up a long shift today, so I wanted to stop by and check in with you and say hi and hope that you're having a very wonderful weekend. And have a wonderful weekend even if you have to work. can have a wonderful weekend, even if you have a lot of things to do. But, of course, we're crocheters and knitters, so our wonderful weekends are cozy, comfy with yarn in our hands, right? Well, I wish that for you. I hope you get some yarn in your hands this weekend and make some progress. Take care. It was very nice visiting with you today.